Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series we're going to be going over the moon. We're going to be going over the moon in the houses. And in this episode we're going to be talking about moon in the 8th house. Okay, moon in the 8th house, alright? So our moon represents our emotions, our soul, how we feel in the inside, who we are in the inside, okay? It represents what makes us feel at home and what makes us feel comfortable, that emotional security. And then we have the 8th house, which is ruled by Scorpio. 8th house deals with death, transformation, emotional trauma. This is all the scary stuff we go in life. This is our hell in life, in a sense. But this is created so that we can transform. But it's an emotional process, okay? This is the emotional challenges we deal in life. So when your moon is in the 8th house, okay, you have an emotional attachment to trauma, okay, but also transformation and change through the trauma. You have an emotional attachment to things that are dark, things that are depressing, things that represent death in the sense of the ending of things. It doesn't just have to be human life, it could just be anything. And you're into the shadows of life. Your moon is here. You feel that there. And this is because this is how you were nurtured, okay? Moon in the 8th house is a very difficult placement because you're putting your moon in such emotional trauma, okay? Now, there's two sides to this, okay? I'm going to speak about the more, I guess, negative aspect of it, but moon in the 8th house, it's a difficult placement because you could have been brought up in a family that puts you through a lot of emotional trauma, just plain and simple. Or you could have witnessed your mother dealing with a lot of emotional trauma and suffering a lot. Or whoever was nurturing you, or how you were nurtured in your family in general, could have just been lots of emotional trauma, lots of abuse, you know, of any sort, of any level. Okay, things that traumatize you emotionally and therefore change you forever. Okay, it's a very dark experience, and people like this are very dark, you know, it's very similar to Moon in Scorpio, but because of this, it develops a dark mood, you know, your emotions, your feelings, you can be very dark emotions, dark feelings, and this is because the intensity and the amount of intensity you experience in your family and your nurturing. Okay, it just can be so depressing, you know, and just abusive, okay, that you have to learn how to gain your power back, okay? And this is a lesson in 8th house in general, but having your moon here, this is what makes it so challenging, is because this is how you're developed emotionally, okay? This is the soul and the core of your life. So you're constantly dealing with transformations, like you're constantly having to change. You're constantly having to go through an emotional battle and then come out of it or go through it again. It's like a constant abuse cycle, or choose to level up. Whichever you choose to do, you know, these experiences are asking for your soul to transform and change and become stronger. You know, the 8th house deals with our power, okay? All this abuse is happening to us so that we can take power and control back, okay? So if your moon is here, on a soulful level, you have felt abuse. I don't care what anyone said. Your moon, if your moon's in your 8th house, on a soul level, you have been abused. So it is your duty to take that power back. And that's by becoming stronger through this abuse, learning the lessons emotionally, healing yourself. Moon in the 8th house is a big placement for healing. These people go through so much. I'm telling you, they are emotionally connected to trauma because this is what they've been growing through. And trauma is the lower form. The higher form is transformation. But because they're used to this, they are the people that can help other people that go through trauma, that go through tragedy. Okay, no one's going to be able to help, you know, abuse victims better than the person who's been through it, and that's how you truly understand it, and that's how you give the right words or advice or healing to a person who needs it. Because as a person who has eighth house placements myself, I understand that life is not superficial. And I understand that when you go through depression, you need someone who understands what it's like to be there in order to truly relate to you. Someone who just tells you to put a smile on your face every day is going to look like BS. So again, like I said, with Moon in the 8th house people, these people, yes, they go through so much trauma, and yes, they're so used to it, and it's a lot. But if they learn the lessons, okay, these people are the best healers. They're the ones who can heal people through mad trauma, like any type of abuse. These are the type of people that can help heal people, and because they're the ones who've been through it and can relate to it. And again, the whole point of your soul being in the 8th house is to transform. So people who learn the lessons from this house are emotional warriors. I like to call them emotional warriors because they've been through the most, and they survived it, and they understand that there is a way to survive it, and they're going to be, again, the ones that are going to be truly able to relate to the people who want to overcome this, because they're not scared, okay? And that's another thing. Moon in the 8th house people, these people are naturally very dark, so they're not scared of darkness. They embrace the darkness and they feel comfortable with it. Again, this is the Moon in the 8th house. Moon is your emotions, what you're comfortable with. These people aren't comfortable with like superficial, light, bright things. They've been through tragedy. They've been through trauma. They've been through these experiences, and they've been developed through them, that they've understand how to live through it and transform and get the positivity out of it. Okay, so these people aren't superficial. They're deep. They're very intuitive, very psychic. They can see and penetrate through people. Okay, they're always fishing out for, what is BS. They can sense BS. Their BS radar is all the way up. And they have incredible psychic abilities. These people are very intuitive, okay? People say that, Moon in the 8th house can be one of the worst placements, but what people don't understand is that with Moon being in the 8th house, Moon is still in a water house. 8th house is a watery house. So the psychic abilities, the intuition, okay, that this Moon energy naturally has is still in here in the 8th house. So Moon in the 8th house people are very psychic, very intuitive. They can feel people out. They can read people. They can read straight through people. Amazing readers. And they just feel it. They feel it. They just feel it in the air, okay? These are people that walk into a room and can feel the energy, all right? So, yes, that is Moon in the 8th house. Moon in the 8th house, again, is very, dark placement. But I'm telling you, these people have the power to really transform their soul and to be survivors of their trauma versus victims, okay? Because again, that's the whole point. And what I would have to definitely say as a huge warning for Moon and 8th house people is that the Moon is our emotional security. So instead of transforming like you should when you're dealing with the 8th house, the Moon, we could get addicted. So this could be a person, instead of like becoming better, they're attracting negative relationships, attracting abusive partners, not learning from these emotional traumas, creating this reality for themselves, going from an emotional abusive family to now creating one by, attracting partners who are abusive and stuff like that. And we could just get addicted to it because Moon and 8th house people cannot see love or a relationship without the struggle and trauma, and you have to be careful not to get so addicted to all that negativity, Moon and 8th house people. You're supposed to experience this to transform and to be able to see through the BS and attract better people and to create a better family. not to just repeat the same thing. And with that moon in the 8th house, it can be easy to get trapped into that, because moon, again, rules their addictions. It's what you're emotionally comfortable with, you know, so you can feel at home with people who are really bad. You need to take someone who's real and who sees through the BS and who's deep, but not someone who's going to be abusive and going to create trauma for you. So be careful with that moon in 8th house people, getting addicted to emotional trauma. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, okay? Moon in 8th house is very powerful placement. These people are also very powerful in general too. That's in their soul to deal with this. So they're like warriors, okay? They ain't scared of anything because they've seen it all. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and come back for some more. And if you did enjoy it, book a reading with me. I do astrology readings, okay? Birth natal chart readings and tarot. Okay, all you have to do is email me and we could go forward with that. Also, check out my music on Spotify, Apple, and here on YouTube. I'll have all the links in the description box below. And I'll check you guys out on the next video.